farm journalism. And one thing we were confident till recently was that we know the exact information need of farmers, what exactly they want, where are the problems. You were mentioning about the problem statements. One of the problem statement was this, the aragonite is rather green crop, it requires a lot of water like sugar cane, 6 months a year, 40 liters a day. And we were slowly losing because painstakingly the farmer, he does the farming. At the end of May or so, the water table was going down and there was no solution in front of common man how to augment the water table. So this was one of the issues we thought we will give priority. Two things we put in as priority. One is agroforestry and second is rainwater harvesting. But unfortunately there was the kind of water conservation government was telling, it was only by MLAs building some check dams and all that. We thought that an ordinary person should have some role, and if he want to, there should be some way he should try to improve his water availability. It required a lot of effort, but finally we succeeded because there were here and there were some beautiful messages, technologies and things like that, and we ran a series of success stories on rainwater harvesting by name.
For the 90s.
It was 90s. In 1996, we started a series which ended after 10 years. Nela Jala Ulisalu Nuru Viti. That is, there are 100 ways of conserving soil and water conservation. That was one platform which gave us a lot of reliability, and people started following. Initially, they also took us with pinch of salt. They do always. But when, maybe after 2 years, one guy writes a postcard saying that we implemented what you suggested and there is more water in my Suranga now. So when people start endorsing, we publish it. That way, slowly we raised, and we thought not that we can't, we won't mistakes and all that. This believing like God is a very, very dangerous situation. One should not do that, and we should know what we are. But slowly we thought, we evolved some of our do's and don'ts. The first one of the do's is take your story only from the right farmer who has done maybe some solutions, some new ideas. And what we publish generally, it should be of practical help to farmers. That is number one priority. And second one, if not that, it should widen the horizons of farming community. So one by one in the last 36 years, we rather did a lot of campaign, and the old adage of publish and forget, we don't do it. We take up some ideas and we go with this problem. We become an activist also for certain period, and once we are convinced that society has realized and trying to do something, we get back and go to another subject.
How do you select? Again, it's like a need assessment, right?
Yeah, if you start looking at keeping your eyes open, you find there are many things wherein no much creative intervention is done. It is, after all, it is not a media man's work at all. Any development is like a relay race. You need many components. One NGO, maybe a journalist, and so many. A journalist or a scientist alone can't bring development. So we should work together, and we should have a intra-communication. I'm very happy that my earlier panelists did my job very well. From Brigade Ganeshan, one thing is identify the problem. I value it. That's what he suggested. Second thing, keep exchanging. And what Vinod said is make a full statement of problem, the whole problem statements of the country. If this is done also, that will be a beginning. And who knows, Karnataka farming community's problem, the Assam might have a small solution, if not 100% solution. A small solution brings lot of hopes instead of frustration. This is how we started working upon.
For the advantage, Shiva, do you think that because you were based out, your office was based out of the village, Puttur is no longer a village, it's become a semi-city, uptown. Had you have succeeded, had you been in Bangalore?
Sorry?
Instead of Puttur, in the 90s, I mean, if you look at the
Yeah.
infrastructure at Puttur and where you were based out of,
Yeah.
right? You were directly, in many ways, or also, you were also the end user, right?
Huh.
Had you been based elsewhere, would you have succeeded?
I don't think so, because for us the publication is not an end in itself. It's only a means for development, means for bringing some change, showing some classic case studies. So we can do this best being in that situation only.
And have you faced failures in
Yeah.
the articles that you wrote?
Yeah, many times. We have faced failures. We have misjudged people as celebrities who are nothing but 420s. So because the acting by the one of the so-called celebrities so brilliant that all of us were taken for a ride. And also things happen. Failing in the sense, what is the kind of response you value? I'll give you a small example. Right now, since the last 3 months, we are working on Cashew apple value addition. I was an illiterate 3 months ago. I know cashew apple, I know the taste, I know how the juice tastes, everything I know. I know that it is wasted. Not even 1% of cashew apple is used, I know. And Brazil is which has done the ultimate. So we started working even to get to know who is doing anything. Entrepreneurs who are doing cashew apple value addition, it's not easy, because your Google Mama doesn't have answer, GPT doesn't give you any answer. But that is a challenge. That is a beautiful challenge in working there. So we started working, and we talked to not less than 50 people working on cashew apple, and most of the people said one thing: it is highly perishable, number one, and the third thing they say is that people there is no consumer acceptance for. Mainly this cashew apple goes for juice because it is 90% water. It sense that you make the fruit as a drink. But out of 50 people we spoke, half a dozen people were very positive. They said, if we are buying Himachal apples, why can't we make people from north to buy the products of the cashew apple? So we thought there was a great disconnect. One person doesn't know another who is working on that. That is the basic thing. All the like-minded, be united, start intra-communication. That is the best way. That is a moral booster for you to run in the show. So we started a group called WhatsApp group called Cashew Apple to Market. Okay, lot of cashew scientists are there. We roped in, but democratically we don't pull people into the group. We ask them, are you interested? If he doesn't answer, we leave them. If say yes, only this emojis won't serve the purpose. We said he should say yes. So now the cream of cashew apple people, cashew scientists are in the group. But I see, till recently I was very disappointed. Because when we dig out some very interesting news, there are no likes, nobody comments, nobody asks questions. People are simply complacent, and especially I should say the ICR people, scientists with us, I don't know what is the reason. They prefer to be tight-lipped. They were never. So I said, sometimes I hinted, I too know how to be. I know the art of silence. I don't do that. If you don't speak up, it may frustrate this. But what we wanted to do is that through the group, we wanted to convince people that this cashew apple has potential. It can be a livelihood, and wasting is not good. So we wanted to hand over the patent to people. So slowly we started identifying where the problem is. One of the simplest problems, the first task was this cashew apple has tannins. So it irritates your throats. With the acids, drinking cashew juice is very tough because it simply irritates. Nobody will like it. So how do you take the irritation? It's very simple. This gruel water, what you call kanji vellam or ganji neeru, when you cook rice to that water, some starch or either sago, you slightly put it, there is a ratio, keep it for half an hour, the tannin settles, transfer, and this is done. But people don't know. All the scientists, they didn't have told this. So what we said, we started telling this. So in the group also, people said, we don't know how to remove tannin and all that. Then we started one-to-one and all that. Yesterday, one farmer removed the tannin, went to morning, went to the park and offered cashew juices to different people. And he came back. When he came back, 3 neighbors came. We drank your sample dose. Now we want to make our wife also drink. And they came with cash. They started buying it. Then who says cashew apple, there is a very low acceptance? It's not true. So thing is that if we start thinking, very simple is that, if you start thinking very seriously about the subject or the problem what you are facing, if not doors don't open, if you pursue, at least the windows start opening, and when few windows open, we can enter into the subject and bring in some change.
But somewhere, Shree Padre ji, there is a underlying fact, because you're from the place, you ingrained the problems, you ingrained the solutions, you culturally know everything else. If to advise the ACICs, which unfortunately lie in some formal institution, because this is we confuse between formality and informality, right? Who decides what is formal, and we have unfortunately decided that is informal. That's where the divisions come in. How did you select the first set of journalists, of people, right? You alone didn't write the articles. The advice one will actually help people look at what is the team structure that is needed for us to look at innovations, look at problem statements, because it's not about putting that problem statement in a ChatGPT and getting an answer, right? It's about the cultural way of decoding a problem. A lot of things are said without being said. How are you able to extract between the lines that somebody is speaking? And that's the true form of ACIC. It's not about a survey. How do you select the first set of team members who could break those barriers?
First we select the subject. If we have time, can we go to some of the slides wherein I can tell some stories? Kerala, Karnataka and different areas. And unfortunately picture was not rosy. When you read whatever, you get excited, but finally from the point of view of the target audience, it's not that. There are many hurdles. In the process, we came to know about 2-3 people. You can call them startups, farmer startups who have started some industry of that. They were also incubating, but that was very that in the real kind of incubation that is necessary. I will say, I will just give you some points. Government incubation centers, even work with which half a day, it is a small work which can be done in half a day, you need a lot of time. And we talked to some of the people whose stories are supposed to be success stories from the point of view of the incubation center. I'll just tell you one single story. There is a techie in Bangalore. Don't ask name and the institution also, please. He was growing Jamun. I don't know if you know Jamun. So he is somewhere in Anantapur. His husband and wife team, they started growing Jamun, but they didn't get good price. They could have got good price in Bangalore, but Anantapur they were getting very cheap peanuts. So they approached one incubation center, and they said we can convert into this what is this Jamun leather, what is that tribal Veda and all that. So they started working on it. See, from Anantapur the fruit is harvested, brought to Bangalore, and they said we can make leather. And it took a long time. In the first year, leather couldn't be made. They said, don't worry, there is a way to preserve it. You keep it in cold storage. So the fruit is kept in cold storage, and the fruit still continues in the cold storage, and nothing has worked out. And since the fellow is a techie, he is able to pay the energy bills. Actually, what solution he wanted is, even if they have arranged somebody to buy the fruit as it is at a higher price, that would have solved the problem. From the point of incubation center, they have helped him by showing a cold storage and all other things. But the real purpose is, he is in sorrow. He says, sir, don't publish my story because that will offend. Of course, they have done, the scientists also have done with the good this one, but thing has not survived. This is what happens, the moot question is whether your initiatives, whatever technology initiatives or whatever, whether it has helped him to come up and what is the cause you are supporting. This is very important. See, this gentleman has one Bridget. He is now running a industry of this sprouted cashews. They have invested around. He has got some award on this Raftar and all that. He has built up a beautiful incubation center, and anybody newcomers, he guides. He guides, and also he gives them marketing ideas. Another big complaint the people have is they have all scientists in incubation centers, but no marketing expert. They teach them how to make products, but whether products are saleable and bring some fortune to this one is not known. So they spend a lot of energy, and also the charges that is levied in incubation centers, including the current charges, expertise charges. One incubator, he said, one suggestion I have is please don't treat these incubation centers as a profit-making centers. That will never happen. If you do that, the people who approach, they will be paying a lot and finally will not have much results. So these other two people, they are growers, farmers. They have installed many machines and they are offering incubation. They are giving some white label production and all that. And the people are coming there. They are happy because they know what to do, which has the marketability, which one to do, which not to do. So there are many gaps. Maybe we can go to the next slide. This is one virgin coconut oil production. In Kerala, one company started, and this is the method they were using is what is called as DME, direct micro expelling. This was developed by one Australian scientist, Dan Etherington, and we liked this approach because in this is our story we published long time, maybe 15 years ago. And seeing at that picture, many people commented and criticized us because you are exploiting women folks. Because it is a little bit, it looks very hard for expelling and all that. Of course, that what they said is correct. But why we were so much motivated to publish this story is that in DME method, the extraction of virgin coconut oil is done at village level. Generally, what we are doing is coconut is grown in villages. It is taken to the city. The oil is extracted. Once again, it comes to the villages, and all the money in the process goes to nothing remains in the village. This is the villages do the extraction process, and the sales also start from there. So it's a circular economy. So we published, we gave a new name in Kannada, VCO, Tenta Enne, Tingina Taja Enne. And there was wonderful response. And the first machine, that is the imported machine from the cover page. One of our farmer, who is also a mechanical engineer, developed a machine. And one lady in the lower picture, she liked the idea of VCO. VCO is nothing but we don't go from the fresh coconut itself. You just in the DMA method, you just grate it, roast it, and expel oil. So many people didn't have any machine and all that. One social worker started some demo with that small machine which you make murukku, chakuli and all that. It was not very efficient. But now in Tumkur district, this has turned into a revolution, and many farmers are now doing this. And one professor made a study in Tiptur Taluk, where coconut is mainly grown. Unfortunately, when he conducted a survey, Tiptur, lot of coconuts are grown, but in each household, they are not using coconut oil. They are using some oil brought from the city because they are selling their coconuts, and oil expelling is not in their hands. So what they did, they put a small DME expeller and started job work. So this is how, even now some people are continuing this, and they are extracting oil from their own coconuts and selling. Some of them have remained successful. The whole idea is it has brought a sea change. It is not the old type of coconut oil extraction wherein your coconuts are to be shifted to cities and all the money in the process goes on. So such are ideas. We respected that dance idea, the vision, because it will empower the village. That's one example.
And this was done 15 years ago.
Yeah, for 15 years.
So the question is, that means so much of knowledge that exists, right?
Yeah.
Again, I come back to the same question, right?
Yeah.
These are things that you did from a team perspective. That means somebody thought that such a technology, which would have been invented in Australia, but the end value for the people to capture the value right at the doorstep could be done here, right?
Yeah.
I mean, in an era where internet was very weak, you actually. But what were the type of team that you created that could appreciate that?
Yeah.
Because today, that is one of the biggest issues.
Yeah,
Team setup.
Yeah, what we did is, in the initial stages when we started the magazine, from organic growing community, if you can call them as a community, there are good number of journalists all over. Some of our journalists are in the international level also. So we thought that if they spare some time for the magazine of their own, we won't have any shortage of writers. But that was not to be, because they were all formula writings. They are teaching for something else, and they didn't know how to apply our idea into their writing. So we thought that if we have to run a magazine that brings in some change, we have to train our own journalists. So we started a movement called Krishikara Kaige Lekani, pen to farmers. So this was altogether a different set of thinking, and we would go to some village, select call for applications, select people, and we conducted many workshops.
But you said pen to the farmers, right?
Yeah.
Pen, like created.
Yeah.
Why can't the same thing be happen to ACICs? Where you get people who are from the farming sector or from the street vending sector into as employees in the ACICs. Why do we look at ACICs that somebody else will be hired and they will teach the rack pickers and
that's a good idea, but I don't know, to identify competent persons would be a...
Was it competent on which side? On this side or that side?
no, competent from the untraditional side, who can deliver, but not...
But isn't that, Shree Padre, that to ACIC's mandate is to democratize incubation innovation?
Yeah.
Until we don't democratize,
yeah,
you democratize journalism.
The mindset is what mainly is the main matter in this. Unless you have the mindset to help the rural communities, the things won't happen actually. I'll give you an example. One of our group members, one rural, one area, in Jackfruit, they did a varietal selection process. Generally in a university it takes 5 years, 10 years, like 5-6 years, with all their different characters and all. This group worked so well that they identified 5-6 best jackfruit varieties in about in a taluk. And within the next year, they brought the clones and they distributed it back. They put some beautiful names and all that. We suggested the same to the horticulture department, and one of our friends said, for this, to identify and document which kind of fruits varieties are there, don't put a qualification of a horticulture BSc or MSc. Go by the aptitude. And the one for us who did this one Sharmaji, who has a penchant, who has rather very, very dedicated and has a very clear knowledge of varieties. That is, with the help of him, he has done. So, same kind of situation.
This is exactly what Brigadier has been speaking about, right? How do you democratize the thought process? Today, the thought process is killing we are creating these compartments and we and they, right? And that is where I think, somewhere what you have been seeing here in a 35-year journey, that has disappeared. I mean, it was never there in the first place. But today you saw the CEOs of ACICs coming and defining the C part. There was a pushback in the post panel as well as what Brigadier Uda all said, and then does that, right? So there is a gap. There is a gap, clear gap you could see in the understanding of the C. And why I'm pushing forward is, had it been any other workshop, I would not have pushed back. We are now creating a platform for the country to succeed. It's not a platform for ACIC to succeed. Right? So the definition of C becomes extremely critical for people to understand and go back, right?
Lot of unlearning would be necessary.
You would say.
Lot of unlearning would be necessary.
How would that be possible?
Oh yeah, that's a big question. Yeah, I don't know. No, at least what I would suggest is, at least if you can create one or two models of what you are hinting,
Right.
where I is not the main subject.
Right.
It's a role of facilitator, and the country's, this contribution to the country is important, where the innovations that will bring the real change and rural upliftment, this sort of this one's answer. The whole probably a mindset change might be required. I have put a couple of slides. I don't know about your norms and other things. Maybe see, this is one or two slides I have put. I don't know whether you have the mandate to identify the problems and try to bring out solutions. It's a very small case. You know Carambola, star fruit. Like jackfruit, like cashew apple, this is one fruit which is grown only to be wasted. It gives thrice or four times it gives yield, Carambola, star fruit. It is the national fruit of one country. Very tasty fruit, but totally and gives bumper crop and wasted. In Kasaragod, one household, one SMS horticulture, when she came, she had to come stamping on the fruits. They said, why do you allow it to rot? Then they said, there is no use. Then she said, who told you there is no use? I said, nobody have any use. Then he said, if you are doing what I am following, I will show you way. She said, you extract oil. And that oil is is a good medicine for so many types of aches. And this lady is a lawyer, and her mother now does make this oil. And for getting drug license is very tough. So they are selling it as a medicated oil, and the people who buy it in 100 ml, they buy in liters. So now, thanks to that KVK and that SMS who taught how to utilize this Carambola, at least 4 or 5 people in Kasaragod are making this oil and selling beautifully. This idea, like what Sir has told, it can be extended. It's a small thing, from the small spark, not that it only that one. So, such things, I will show you one more slide. This happened like what Sir said, unless there is no crisis, there is no innovation. There was a crisis during COVID. People had to throw away their banana or feed the cattle. So at that time we got a spark. Somebody was asking we done some WhatsApp group and all. Somebody asked, sir, what can you do instead of composting, can we do something? So I asked a SMS. She said, does your lady know English? I said, a little bit. Then she said, this is a time of COVID, no trainings, no one-to-one training, ask her to phone me. So she phoned this SMS and 5 minutes, you won't believe it, phone pe mantropadesh ho gaya, 5 minutes ka. And this lady did what we call later as BaKaHu, Bale Kai Kudi. And what is required is one chapu. And at that time it was monsoon, so probably drying was necessary, one chapu and one mixing. So within a 2 hours labor, you can turn your plantains into BaKaHu, Bale Kai Kudi. And this we published in social media, hot like wildfire. North Kendra in Karnataka is one district having highest number of dryers. So, the housewives took it as their godsend and everybody started. You won't believe me, every day I was getting 2 inputs. BaKaHu chapati, BaKaHu Jamun, so many things. And we don't have that gentleman, nutritionist. Tiptu Raghu said, this is forget about rice and wheat, this is one of the best food. And now there is one housewife making, she might have done 3-4 tons of the BaKaHu and selling by, online and all that. This one gentleman in Mysore, that is one district, one product, he has named it as BaKaHu and there is many products. It's possible in what the problem here is. See, in Jalgaon where you grow, banana capital of India, They also know this, how to make in household level with very little work you can convert your plantain into powder. So apply your ICCs, give them small equipment. I bring 5 kgs of banana, you either give me 2 kgs in exchange or take a fee and convert, like in good olden days the whole wheat they were powdering and giving. How we can develop this idea, and along with this awareness is also necessary. We discuss with people in what is this Maharashtra, what is the banana capital? Jalgaon or I forgot actually. Anyway, sorry, Jalgaon, right? No. So they know how to make it, but the problem is they believe that it is a food for upavas. It is for fasting days only. Their mind is set that it is a very good geriatric food. We can make use of it in many ways. And I should thank Shree housewives. They are the researchers. They showed how many, and so much so that one KVK head was so much Atari, the director Dr. Venkat was so impressed that he wanted the KVK to publish the book, because people, the housewives during that COVID time has come out with and exhibited around 70-80 products, all made from homemade BaKaHu. It was a big showcase. So, such things. This is a small example. There may be so many problems which are not stated. So,
which means, I mean, this is an exercise to both Uday and Vitasta. I would say, what Shree Padre ji has said, if you see between the lines, and what he mentioned also is the number of stakeholders, that from KVK to the farmers to the journalists, right? That means there are so many solutions that exist and so many problems also in the next stage that exist that have already been documented in Kannada. Yes, that means in Bhojpuri it would have been documented, in Meghalaya and Gaur it's already documented somewhere. I think, are we reinventing the wheel by doing it something and losing that 40 years of knowledge in each state? Like if we say that if Shree Padre goes to actually sits in Prime, I'm sure within a day you'll find out who are the rural journalists over the period of time who have actually done these articles over the years, right? This itself is just prelude to ACIC. If you are able to create a database for the country before it is lost, because the AI generate even the PDFs might be lost, is my question. Nobody's putting those PDFs in the rural areas into this documentation. Those becomes an inherent database and knowledge for all the ACICs to even start from, right? Pushing them. Those knowledge hopefully, I mean, if we can take the help of Shree Padre to actually across all 30 states, I mean, if you go to Bihar and you talk to the rural journalists who also come from a similar background, the amount of knowledge in terms of water, in terms of droughts, in terms of floods, if we don't have the solution, at least the problem statements actually come, and that's the fundamental of ACIC per se. So, I think, how do we use the expertise?
Maybe I would like to add one point. Look here, apart from identifying the problems, documenting and bringing out the ID, the need problem statements, there are some ready solutions available which hasn't clicked in one area. I will give you a beautiful example. When we are working with Cashew, I have a gentleman of my age, 70, who has promised me that he will teach how to make dehydrated cashew food. He has named it as Sukaju, like Sukeri. And he offers me to teach it free of cost over phone pay Mantra 10 minute. But unfortunately, I am not able to give him students. He said, whomever you recommend, I can do that. And he comes from Konkan. And Konkan is where a lot of cashews are wasted. And he has sent me samples what they have done. He had just take cross sections. Process is simple, but for some it may look cumbersome. You apply your technical knowledge, bring out some labor saving devices, and he says 5-6 these small pieces, and it is a tourist area. Selling this local food, local cashew, this food product is very easily possible. But there are some missing links. If this idea can be taken, if Konkan people are not taking ideas through your network, like what Brigadier has said, if you just flash across this idea, here is a gentleman who is ready to give. Even though he says he is giving for free, don't give him some royalty and see that he gets some good students and this idea gets translated and people make some products, instead of composting fruits, back to soil, let it come to make some money and bring some solace to people. Karnataka we have wood apple, Chamarajanagar district, tons and tons of wood apple we have. It's seasonal. It has good demand if you make it into juice. And there is one gentleman, Sujivan Kumar, who lost his 7-acre property with wild elephants, and now he makes a living by making fresh juice out of wood apple wherever exhibitions are held. And every year he earns around 3 to 4 lakh rupees, and that's how he is making. So what is simple is you make. It's available only for 3 months. Huge trees in Chamarajanagar district. Each tree will give you half a ton, 600 kgs like that. But again, it goes wasted. It is not only Karnataka. The utilization of wood apple in India is very, very less. But see at our neighbor Sri Lanka, which may not be having even 5% or 10% of our production, but Sri Lanka has shown how wood apple can be used for the community's benefit. In Sri Lanka, 30 companies are making soft drink from wood apple and is being exported. 4 items from wood apple are being exported. One is wood apple pulp, second is wood apple soft drink, third is jam, and fourth one is powder. And I try to see some data are not available. Even some organizations are giving training to underprivileged, like ICIC and all that. After this crisis, Sri Lankan crisis come, there is one TV company, there is one, of course they have their business interests like selling dehydrators and all that. But the way they have rather trained people, there should be not less than 500 people today in Sri Lanka who are producing wood apple RTS in bottles, very neatly packed and labeled and all that, who taught very simple way, maybe through a mobile online class or something like that, who have made their kitchen into a factory and are earning good money out of it. If Sri Lanka can do, why can't we do? Here, one of the problem statement is this: whatever you are supposed to collect the whatever falls, you just convert it to whatever is available for 2 months. You preserve it for. Make it a pulp. Pulp is not a big rocket science. Somebody has to apply their mind. Finished. We have so much of scientists, but how to make apply their mind? That is the question.
It's a big question.
That's a big question. Problem statements are there, resources are there, people are there, benefits are there to see. It is as clear as daylight, but still there are communication gaps. Harish, just here. This is what I said. Cashew apple juice. PCK Plantation Corporation of Kerala, which is having the highest cashew apple cultivation estate in the country, they are making a neat 50% of their income. Whatever they earn from cashew nut, another 50% they earn from selling fresh juice, which is done with very, very least investment. This is a scalable idea, but only thing you have to rather tune with some people's minds and create awareness. It is possible.